A revocable living trust isn't some magical document that you sign and everything mysteriously just sort of happens. Hi, this is Jeff Marsacci, the Plain English Attorney, and welcome to the video. Before we dig into today's topic, please help us get out solid, accurate information on estate planning and Medicaid planning by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Unfortunately, the algorithms just tend to favor videos that tell people what they want to hear instead of what is actually true. If you want us to get the truth out there about estate and Medicaid planning information, then please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And today we are going to talk about the three estates concept. So how can someone have three estates? Picture this. You're taking a long vacation at a beach resort about 500 miles away, and you have a lot of things that you need to take with you. Clothes, toiletries, medications. You also want to bring your laptop to watch a movie, a few books to read, and your cell phone. You'll also be spending a lot of time at the beach, so you'll need your swimsuit, suntan lotion, and a beach towel. On this trip, you'll also want to make sure that you stay in shape, so you bring all of your workout clothes, your Bluetooth earbuds, and a shaker bottle and protein mix. Okay, it's time to get packed. But you want to make sure you're doing this the most effective way possible, so you ask a friend who travels all of the time. And then here's what they tell you. Make sure to put your entire wardrobe except the workout clothes and the swimming gear into one suitcase. That will go on a plane with ABC Airlines with instructions to deliver the suitcase to your hotel. Next, your medications are something you will absolutely need to be available on your trip. So make sure to ship them by courier to the hotel with instructions that they are to be placed in your hotel room bathroom prior to check-in. Since you'll be using your beach gear at the beach, send those clothes via UPS 3 days ahead of time directly to the beach right outside your hotel. So they're there when you arrive, hopefully. You'll also need to use the nearby gym location, and you're already a member. So go ahead and box up your workout clothes and your protein shake mix and all that stuff and ship that via FedEx to the gym location. Since you won't need your laptop or books until you actually get to the hotel, put them in another suitcase, get them a ticket on a flight for XYZ Airlines with instructions to deliver them to the front desk at your hotel so you can pick them up when you check in. And now, finally, you'll need to get there yourself to enjoy the trip, so go ahead and book your own plane ticket on QRS Airlines and bring your phone with you so you won't be bored on the flight. It'll all work out, I'm sure. This sounds absolutely ridiculous, and it absolutely is. However, this just disjointed, haphazard approach is similar to the way many people approach their estate planning, even with a revocable living trust. This leads to what looks like 3 or more separate and completely uncoordinated estate plans. When I end up working with trustees and executors to settle these hodgepodge plans, I have to explain them this three estates concept so they can grasp what needs to be done in order to settle things. How can this happen with a revocable living trust? Isn't that supposed to avoid probate, put all of your plans in one place? Yes, but if you think it's important for educational videos like this to get out there, then please help us out by subscribing to the channel. As the lawyer, my job is to build their custom suitcase, give them instructions on how to pack it to align with their overall estate plan. A revocable living trust isn't some magical document that you sign and everything mysteriously just sort of happens. Settling an estate is nothing more than transferring title from the deceased person to their beneficiaries, so it really matters how these assets are titled after death. So what exactly are the three estates? And there actually may be more. 3 estate plans. So one by one. There's your trust estate. So if you set up your revocable living trust, that's where all of the assets are titled in the trust. They pay upon death designations on accounts, they go into the trust. And now the trust is that hub. It's the central location where your entire estate plan is in place. It avoids probate, and there's a set of allocations and distributions and for beneficiaries and contingencies and age limits, all that stuff that the trust has to follow. Your second potential estate is the probate estate. All right. What is still titled in your name after you have passed on? Well, whenever you have a revocable living trust, you want to avoid probate as much as possible. That's why most of my clients come to me. They want their estate to not end up in probate. However, many times there are at least a few items that end up in probate. Refund checks, sometimes vehicles, smaller accounts they never switched over. For these, we use the last will and testament to control where those items go. However, to maintain consistency and have all of the plans for allocations and distributions kept private, we use what is called a pour-over will. So the only beneficiary for the will and probate is the revocable living trust. So even though it is not packed in that suitcase, it still goes to the same place on the same airplane. And now the three or more, the other estates. Banks and financial institutions will brag about how their accounts are beneficiary driven, meaning they'll avoid probate. All you have to do is name the pay on death beneficiaries, and then you don't have to worry about something like a revocable living trust. Okay. The thing is that you now have a separate estate plan on death for each and every account where you name different people on those particular accounts. It also does not take care of any of the myriad of contingencies that you might put into your revocable living trust. So by and large, we recommend that the trust be the beneficiary of these accounts if, one, there's tax consequences or complications with putting the account into the trust to start with, or two, if there's a tax reason in your specific case for name, so you want to name beneficiaries directly rather than the trust, and this is with things like IRAs and 401ks, other tax qualified accounts. While we sometimes have to make use of all three of these estates in the planning process, it's an absolute mess if everything is not coordinated. If the overall plan is the revocable living trust, then make sure that the suitcase is packed as much as possible, but then everything else is either in a carry-on or in your pockets. And that's the way to think about it. You want it all together. There's no need to send your stuff through multiple transports just to get everything to your destination. So how do we get to a ridiculously haphazard estate where there are really three or more different estate plans? So let me go ahead and use an example of a current case we're assisting a trustee on. Mom came to us about 2008 to put together her comprehensive estate plan. We created a revocable living trust, and the way she wanted things laid out, two of her daughters were getting the house and sharing it equally. And then after that, two of her grandchildren would divide everything else as beneficiaries. That's the way she wanted it. We created a pour-over will that named the trust as the beneficiary of anything that ended up in probate. It was the pour-over will. Advised her to name her trust as owner of her bank accounts and investment accounts, and to change the beneficiary of her IRA to be her trust. After that, she never accepted any of our invitations for an annual review meeting to discuss her plans, see if there were any changes, anything like that. Several months ago, her daughter called us to inform her that she passed on and that she needed to settle the trust as trustee, but she had no idea what to do. So then we discovered the following things. The house and the personal items were still in her revocable living trust, and the trust had not been changed. Two daughters were to split the house, and then those two grandchildren referenced are going to split everything else in the trust. She did a new last will and testament through another attorney, and this will left all of her vehicles to a different grandchild, so yet a third grandchild, while everything else was split evenly between those same two daughters who were supposed to be getting the house through the trust. But her will only applies to what goes into probate. She also changed banks and investment firms since we met in 2008 and had advised her to put everything in the trust. So any of those accounts could be in her name. She could have put them in the name of the trust, but that's not the way they were written on the statements. Or they could have been made pay on death to any number of people. We just don't know at this point because each account could potentially have different beneficiaries and therefore be a different estate plan for her. So there's potentially 1, 2, or even 3 different or more estate plans for the same person, all because her written plans and assets weren't coordinated into one effective estate plan. In other words, her clothes could end up in Miami, her gym bag could surface in Toledo, and her toiletries and medicine took a completely different flight all the way to Little Rock. All because she made changes to bits and pieces of her estate plan along the way without ever fully looking at the big picture the same way we did back in 2008. As for the other attorney who redid her will, either they were the biggest morons in the legal profession, or more likely, the mom just didn't tell the attorney she had a trust and her house and personal items were already in the trust. When it comes to the legal end of estate planning, it's not up to the attorney to track down all of your assets and make sure you're not lying about whether you own certain assets or not. We rely on our clients to be honest with us and ask questions if they're not sure. So that's the concept of the 3 estates. Tell us if this is how you understood estate planning to be, or if you were like most Americans, you just believed if you did a last will and testament or a trust that it just automatically included everything. For more information on how to do this planning the right way, please check out the free information we have at freetrustcourse.com. Again, that's freetrustcourse.com. Particularly check out the chapter in the free ebook, Estate Planning Basics, on funding your trust the right way. So as I always tell my clients, please stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life. And whatever you do, make it a great day.